I would like to welcome some very special ambassadors who are doing a lot of great things to increase gender parity in the game, which is always what the Girls Club is about. But particularly tonight, we're going to be talking about sexism in chess and, of course, the examples of some great women who have countered it, and in particular, the greatest female player of all time, Judit Polgar. Our friends here today are part of making that parity more widespread all over the United States. And the founder, Maggie Saigonova of Queens United, is going to kick things off.
Yeah, hi everyone. It's really great to see all of you coming together for an evening fun of chess and learning more about the chess community and how we can continue to empower girls within the chess community. So some of you I'm already familiar with. I've seen you at one of our girls clubs or in one of our chess lessons before. But if you don't know who I am, my name is Maggie Tsiganova, and I'm the co-founder and president of Queens United Chess. And yeah, I'm really excited, to see so many, so many wonderful faces, and that we're all excited, on the mission of playing chess and, making the chess community so much more inclusive. Yeah, Tamiris, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes. Too? Hi, everyone. My name is Tamiris. I'm director at Queens United. I helped to organize this event, and I'm really happy to meet you everyone tonight.
Fantastic. Tamiris is also going to be joining me for some commentary of the tournament. So that's great. And then we also have Violet as well, right? And Violet has been a very frequent participant in our girls clubs as well, and a very frequent winner of our girls club tournaments. So I think a lot of people know Violet. So this week, as everybody, I'm sure a lot of you know, especially those who kind of stay up to date on chess news, this has been an absolutely crazy month for chess. And in some of the ways this month we've been in the news for kind of the wrong reasons. There's been a lot of scandals in chess this month related to cheating, and actually a little smaller size scandal, but something that is very dear to my heart, and actually to this lesson, which was scheduled before this incident happened. So kind of an uncanny timing here. There was a women's tournament, the FIDE Grand Prix, and there was a commentator, Grandmaster Ilya Smirin, who was working alongside a really strong WIM and well-known commentator and streamer. She goes by Fiancetta. Does anybody know who that is? If anybody watches Twitch or watches commentary, you've probably seen her. She's a really good commentator. Oh, certainly one of my faves. And this came up in one of the later rounds. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Delilah, did you want to say something while I'm setting this up?
Yeah, my question was, did she name the fianchetto?
No, that's a great question though. In fact, it's kind of a bummer because I think there's like very few opening or tactics named after women. I don't think there's really any at all, actually. Not that I can think of. Can anybody think of a opening or tactic that's named after a woman?
I mean, I can.
What's that?
I can. There's this woman grandmaster. Somebody who starts with an A who has an opening.
I don't think so. I think you might be
thinking. I know there is because I watched a video on Chess Kid about it.
I think you're thinking of the Anastasia mate. Right?
Anastasia.
Yeah, the Anastasia.
Oh, that's not an opening, right? Sorry.
Yeah, it's not an opening, and it's not named after a real chess player, if I remember correctly.
I met Anastasia last week, actually, in a Zoom meeting. So.
Well, Anastasia is definitely a popular name, but the mate goes back way further than that. Okay, we're getting some more answers here. There is a Polgar opening, but it's a bit obscure. It's like an opening, it's like a line in the Grunfeld that's really not that popular. So, wouldn't really get referenced as much as it should. The Botez Gambit, says Marissa. Yes, that is one. The Polgar Power Punch. Thank you, Ritha. That's actually something that I talked about in my various interviews and also to the Girls Club. Basically, I'm trying to get rid of the former word for when you have a battery that consists of a rook, and a queen. They used to call that the Alekine's gun. For various reasons, I really don't like that name. So I think that it should be named after Judit Polgar since she used it really successfully many times. Bednikova opening. I've never heard of that. If somebody wants to link me to something about that, I would really love it. But okay, let's take a look at this thing, which I promised I'd show you.
From Mike G. Is a GM norm possible for Zhu in this event?
She is not Grandmaster.
No, she's actually not even international master. I believe
She's woman Grandmaster or what?
She's woman Grandmaster, yeah.
Why she wants to be like man Grandmaster in this case?
So to answer the question, it must be possible. I guess there are enough. What do they need? 3 Grandmaster opponents, right?
Well, it's possible basically to make a man norm in the women tournament.
Of course, why not?
I don't know.
I mean,
for instance, why not? Why women can play with men and men cannot play with women? It's also why not?
Question for another day.
It would be like, today everyone for parity.
Yeah. But you cannot. I mean, you're saying,
No.
chess is maybe not for women. Then you have to pick either.
I didn't say it openly. I didn't say it openly.
No?
Sorry, in private
I
conversation.
thought you said it on. I mean,
No.
okay, you said that Goryachkina is playing like a man. Yeah, it's also not.
Yeah, that's true. So Goryachkina, she played in Soviet Union, in Russia. Sorry, super final.
Yeah.
Small minus she made, but it was very strong tournament.
Yeah, but that.
And she also had like 2600 plus recently rating.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with playing like a man? Only men can play well.
No, but she's playing in style, like positional style, like a very strong end game. So it's. But okay, I always was curious why women can play.
Okay, that's enough. So that regrettable clip, it kind of continued and potentially even got worse in some places. Yeah, Alexandra Goryachkina, that's where they were talking about. If you didn't catch it, she's the highest rated active female player at the moment. There is Ho Yifan, but she doesn't play a lot right now. So yeah, Alexandra is a very strong player, very young as well. And if you didn't hear that clearly, basically Smirin said that she was playing like a man because she was playing so strong, and particularly playing strong end games and positional play. So yeah, it was a really offensive clip. And does anybody know what happened after the clip went viral on Twitter?
I think he was like kicked out of the tournament.
Yeah, Sujana, you're right. He was actually asked to stop doing commentary after that clip. It was a women's tournament, and of course he was being very critical of female players. That is something, unfortunately, that's been going on for quite a while. And it was the chapter that I assigned you to read from Chess Queens. If you didn't get to it, no worries at all. We're going to kind of summarize it. But it did go along those lines. I talked about how when I started to play chess as like a really youngster, sometimes people would say that you don't want to play like a girl because it means that you're not being super aggressive. So I tried to be as aggressive as possible, right? I would constantly like sack my pieces. I would play the Sicilian and the E4, the craziest lines I could find. Well, I was trying to become a master player, so as crazy as I could find that would also be very ambitious. And I finally started making it to the Olympiad and things like that after working so hard to become so aggressive. And a Russian chess coach started working with me, and he looked at my games and he was like, "Oh my God, you play like such a girl because your end games and positional play is so bad." And I was like, "Why? How can this be? I can't win, right?" But that to see this kind of like replicated so many years later was sad, but it was also encouraging because there was so much immediate reaction against it. So as soon as Twitter and the chess community found out about this, they really were like, "That's not okay." And we already don't have enough girls and women in the game, and the ones who play are really awesome. So we can't have people disrespecting them, especially when they're employed to cover a women's event. Karen L said Repkova and Christelle Jager. Yes, they are members of the women's committee, FIDE women's committee that just stepped down. Not sure what the reason is for that. Anya says my defense against E4 is the accelerated dragon. Great opening. So before we get into more of the discussion, I did want to show you, just because, of course, it was my first instinct to see if Smirin had ever played against Judit Polgar after seeing that clip. Because we have a lot of things that we want to go over today, I'm not going to show you the entire game, but this was from a perk opening. Looks kind of like a Sicilian. I'm going to start sharing my screen right now. Okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, cool. So what would you do here as white? Think about it. I have a poll too, so that everybody can participate in the question, because it's not that obvious what to do here. All right, I just launched a poll about what you would do in this position as white. So it's Judit Polgar playing white in this position. So think about it for like another minute, and then we'll go over what happened. While you guys are looking at this, Linquan asks, why was there a Chinese flag in the clip? That's because one of the players was Chinese, and that was the game that they were actually looking at. This game between Zhu Zhiner and the eventual winner. That was the flag that she was playing under, and they were watching that game as they were having this discussion. It actually kind of sparked it, because despite having a very high rating, she did not have the Grandmaster title. Partially because I think for some Chinese players, it's harder to get those norms, because you need to travel sometimes internationally to play against a variety of countries in order to get them. So sometimes they have very high ratings, but don't have the title yet. That's why Fiona was asking, I wonder if she can make a norm in this tournament. Okay, so anybody want to explain what they did and why? Anybody got a move that they would like to play here? Okay, Madison, beautiful. What would you play?
So I thought of being pretty aggressive, and I was thinking of going maybe knight to d5. I did take notice that knight could go knight x e4, but after I did think about going tempoing black's knight back, also threatening the e7 pawn. And I was thinking maybe later on into the line, I could maybe move bishop b5, trying to tempo black's knight c6 bishop or knight, in the hopes of winning black's e7 pawn.
Okay, great idea. Knight d5, excellent idea. Let's get a few more answers before I reveal what Judit did. Judit really is the correct pronunciation of her name. Sujana?
I said bishop e3 because then I would you could play bishop b5 and then attack the knight, and then if they move back to knight b8, you could go knight bishop c6.
Yeah, great idea. I mean, honestly, a move like bishop e3 or bishop g1 or bishop f2 would absolutely occur to me, because I would want to keep that dark squared bishop. But Judit Polgar did do something different, despite that being a very intuitive idea. Anya?
I would play knight d5 because if knight takes, I would take their bishop, and they can't protect that king side anymore, and it'll be easy for white to checkmate king side.
Okay, great. Anybody who is played something that wasn't mentioned? So we had knight d5 and bishop e3, I believe. Anybody else?
What were the options again?
The options are bishop f6, e5, knight d5, bishop e3, and bishop g1. Delilah, what did you play?
I played e5 because I like being aggressive and I want to open up the center.
Beautiful. Okay, great idea. Okay, anyone else? Manasvi, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
I would play bishop captures f6 because if he captures bishop captures f6, then we could play e5. And if he captures, we could capture his queen or bishop.
Oh, very interesting idea. Bishop f6, e5. She did play bishop f6, so bravo, because that's a really hard move to find. I don't think I'd find that move. And my peak rating was 2400, because I mean, maybe I would. Maybe in a classical game I would, but it's a very hard move to find, because to me, as a dragon player, this bishop looks fantastic, and this bishop looks fantastic. So I would be reluctant to trade this one for that knight. But Judith's thought was, speed is of the essence. I am going to checkmate this guy, and the faster we can get it going, the better. A lot of your ideas were with the right spirit, like you wanted to be aggressive, but the thing is, you actually just want to destroy this king, right? That's one of the features of opposite side castling. So you want to start pawn storming, and that means you want to get rid of as many fenders as possible. Something like knight d5, even if knight takes e4 didn't work, and I think it probably does, you can also just like trade everything, right? And now you've got this very strong bishop, and a lot of trades just mean it's going to be harder to attack, and black will probably be able to attack himself. So I don't really like that move. And e5, e5 is interesting. Again, I would try probably to take and then take the bishop on d4. I'm looking at knight takes d4 also. Maybe knight d4 and then knight takes f3 is also possible because I'm tempoing the queen. But the problem is you don't really want to open up the position. Like, I know that seems aggressive, but what you want to do more than opening up the position is to attack the black king as quickly as possible. And that is what you did. So h4, it was Manasvi who got the move right, but e5 is the wrong follow-up. Very, very smart idea, but unfortunately your calculations were slightly wrong because I think black can just take here. Don't forget the queen is protected by two things, the rook and the knight, and I think she's all good. I mean, he was playing black. I think he's good here. Because the endgame will be a sigh of relief for him because his king will then be safe. So she goes for it. And now h5, she blunders a pawn. And no, of course, why do you think she played the move h5? What is the rationale for just like playing h5 and giving up a pawn that can be taken in two different ways? You can take it with the bishop or with the pawn. Laurel in the chat says open files. Tanisha, did you want to add to that?
Because if pawn takes, you can move the rook to h3 and then move to g3 and start attacking the king.
It's definitely like the right concept. I'm not sure I would go rook h3 to g3 because if I did rook h3, she could take my rook. Probably some other attacking ideas. I mean, the reality is it's just a pawn, and we're opening so many lines against the king that we don't actually need to have the entire variation calculated. She can also just kind of intuit that there's going to be plenty of compensation there. As it turned out, Ilya Smirin did take with the bishop in this position. And now, what do you all think she did? Let's see. Rook takes h5 is Ritha's suggestion, and indeed that's what she did. And now she played this really beautiful move, queen d5. Just a great move. How many of you here in the chat were part of the game that we played against Judit Polgar in her simul this spring? It was recently covered in Chess Kids, so check that out if you haven't already. Really beautiful. Yeah, Maggie, I remember you were there. That was awesome. So this move is great because it attacks the knight, but it also attacks this pawn, which is going to make it even easier to attack the king. And indeed, of course, Ilya had to defend the knight. Smirin had to defend the knight, so Judit played queen takes h5. And now after bishop g7, she played e5 with the idea of getting that bishop into the game, right? Queen e8, what's the idea behind queen e8? What do you think black's winding up for when he plays that move? It's a really, really important defensive move that kind of comes up quite a lot. So it's worth imprinting on your memory. Like if black had another move here, what do you think she would play? I mean, he would play. Yeah, that's right. Okay, a few of you have it. Yeah, anybody else? I got one answer from Ritha. Anybody else? Yes, right. Okay, we got another correct answer. Yeah, f5 is an annoying move because, like, say white just does something like king here or something, you know. F5 is pretty annoying because you can't take me en passant because I just win your queen. So it's a little bit of a clever defensive move because you get an extra pawn in your defense. The rook and the queen can maybe defend now. And you also gain a tempo because white definitely does not want to trade queens here. She sacrificed materials, so she wants to keep the attack going. So that's why Judit did not allow that. No way. So she played queen h3. And now h6 because he was afraid of bishop d3. She played bishop d3 anyway because she doesn't just attack the pawn frontally. She can also wind up for what move? Like if it's white's move here, what could white do? What can white do here if it's white's move? Yeah, nice. God, Ritha, you're on fire today. DMing me all the correct moves. Love it. Madison, beautiful. That's right. Queen F5 is just a very difficult move to mute because you've tried to defend with the Queen E8 move, but now it's actually haunting you because you're in a log jam, right? So like say black just does something random and we play Queen F5, you need to move the queen and the rook to get out of checkmate, right? But you can't do both at once. Usually this bishop is a really, really good defender of the king. And that's why I was so impressed by Judith's amazing decision to play bishop f6. Because I would normally think that black could defend with the bishop, but she's showing that you actually need a little more to defend than just that bishop. So after bishop to d3, he tried knight to b4 to get rid of the really strong checkmating piece. And so she didn't want that. Again, we're seeing this kind of like idea, keep pieces on the board because we're trying to mate our opponent. And now she's crashing through with f5. And Smirin felt like his only opportunity here was to get a little bit of counterplay of his own. He played rook takes c3. And now, what would you guys do here? Oh, this is great. So many people getting the great answer to this one. See, it's true though, like it does, of course I completely disagree with Smirin's remarks that like women aren't good at positional chess. That's insane. But it is true that young people tend to be really, really good with tactics because positional and strategy is a lot about experience and it's a little easier, especially after the pandemic. There's a lot of online tactics tools. Like tell me what you guys use in the chat. What do you use to train your tactics? But positional and strategic chess a little harder. You kind of just need to put in the reps of over the board games, no matter what your age is. So the previous question, most of you got wrong. Bishop takes f6. But this question, almost all of you are getting right. And that just kind of shows you your strengths and your weaknesses. It's okay because it's just the way that it has to be. Chess Kid, Chess Tempo, Lee Chess. Yeah, you're all really, really working on your tactics. Love to see it. So here, Ilya Smirin has just taken her knight, but she ignores it and simply plays f6. If you played f6, raise your hand or give me a Zoom reaction. Fantastic, love it. Good job, everyone. f6 is an absolute crushing move because there's no way to stop White's next idea, which is simply to play, what is the next idea actually? He played queen b5 and what did Judith play here? Book, said Tanisha, very good. That's amazing. I love to hear that. Okay, I'll show you the poll results. These are really impressive. 27 out of 32 of you played the same move that Judit Polgar played.
I was just asking because I was confused if it was a poll, so I didn't send my answer.
Oh, that's okay. What would you do here, Nethra?
I thought of knight g5 also.
Well, knight g5, unfortunately, the rook is attacking the queen. So yeah, I see you have bishop h7 check, but I have king h8 and it's not quite mate. Yeah, Madison, Sujana, Anya, and Laurel, you all got it right. She simply played queen g4 or queen g3. I think in the game actually Judith played queen g3. So yeah, she played queen g3, right? And this led to a resignation because there is no checkmating variation here for him. If he plays knight takes a8-2, I think any move wins here. I don't think it really matters. King b1 wins, but probably king d2 does as well. And yeah, rook c2 doesn't lead to any juice either because his bishop is protecting it. And there's simply no way to defend this checkmate on g7, this frontal mate. So a really lovely game, which I obviously couldn't help but show you all after that regrettable clip from Ilya Smirin. So now I'm gonna hand it over just to kick off the discussion of the playing like a girl, the more expansive discussion that I also had in my book. I'm gonna let Maggie kind of ask the first question about that to both me and to all of you. And then I'm gonna set up the tournament for you guys as she's doing that.
Yeah, so I guess the first question or first idea that you kind of talk a lot about through your book, and I think that is really on theme from today's Girls Club meeting. I'll kind of start off with an excerpt from the book just for some context. You say on page 8, playing like a girl has negative connotations, while playing like a man is a standard to be admired and emulated. It is no surprise that playing like a boy or playing like a woman are rare phrases. Men and girls are on opposite ends of a continuum of strength and power. And so that idea kind of ties really nicely to kind of what we were talking about earlier, with like what happened in the chess world and with the game we were talking about. I think like an important realization is realizing that, that man and girl on opposite ends of the spectrum, we shouldn't really like look at it in that way. Rather, like we should come to recognize the beauty of chess and the power that each chess player brings to the chess community and the power of their own games, because that's really what makes the chess game, so beautiful. And so I guess the question or like idea, maybe the discussion that we can have about right now is maybe have you all maybe witnessed or experienced some of these experiences firsthand? Like, have you maybe been underestimated in a certain circumstance, or have you maybe had an exciting win against a boy when maybe they weren't expecting you to win in their game? So maybe that can be the first question we can kind of talk about. I don't know if like Tamiris or Violet, you want to talk about your own experiences about that too. We can also open the floor for anyone else that wants to share.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic intro, Maggie. Love it. And yeah, did one of your fellow ambassadors want to add to it? Meanwhile, I see people in the chat, Sage and Ray, also saying that they have experiences. Tamiris, did you say you wanted to say something first?
Yes, in terms when I play, usually plays boys, and they look at me like she will lose everyone, so I can't even play chess. And when I come and like destroy them with my attack and tactics, they are really impressed, and this really helps me to make not to do my own work and don't look at what everyone else says. That's really helps me in chess community as a girl, increase as a person, to trust myself and be self-confident in my knowledge.
I love that. Thank you. That's fantastic. Colleen, you have your hand up. What would you like to contribute?
I'm a little older than most of you here. I competed in chess in the 90s, and I would usually make it to the money rounds because usually about 3 of the men at the tournament would refuse to play me because I was a woman. They thought that even if they lost to me, they didn't want an impure rating that was gained by beating a woman. So they would lose to me, and they would forfeit the game and propel me into the money round. And so their sexism actually benefited me. And I do take advantage when I go out to the bars and I'm playing chess with a stranger. I will ask them, how do you move the horsey again? Just to encourage their assumptions to work against them, and I can guarantee the first win.
I love that. Famous question from Andrea Botez to Magnus Carlsen. How do you move the knight? Violet, your question?
But I'll raise my hand.
Sorry, it wasn't a question. I was just going to talk about that I had this regionals where I had a pretty good upset. I think at the time I was like 1300, and I played this guy who was 1700. And at that same tournament the year before, I had played his brother, and he was a very bad sport, and we ended up drawing that game. So it was very nice to finally, even though it wasn't the same person, to kind of win against someone and win that tournament when they weren't the nicest in the past. And then they kind of remembered that next year, and they were a lot nicer to me. Because before that, I know I was lower rated, but they did kind of make some snide comments. Like, they were trying to get me to play on a team with them for something, and they were like, yeah, you should study a lot and like try to get just as good as my son. And like, I wasn't that much worse than him. So it felt good to kind of prove that, I guess.
I love that. I love hearing the success stories. Beautiful. We have Madison who wants to share a story.
I do remember one time, once I got 14th place at nationals when I was in 2nd grade, and one of my games in that tournament was, I was playing a boy that was from Kentucky that now, I'm friends with. Well, their parents are friends with my parents. Well, at the time, he was a 1600, and I was what, like an 18 or 800, to like 1,000. I don't quite remember, but I had started beating him, and once I started winning, he like started crying, and I'm like, what the heck? And he's like raising his hand, calling the TD, and he's like, she's been making faces at me. I'm like, I didn't make no faces. He's like, I think that's her concentrating face. And then after that, I did end up beating him, and he was still crying, but I just think he didn't like losing to a girl. I think he was trying to get me disqualified for some reason. And yeah.
That's funny. I love it. I love it. I love hearing that you won. Well, I don't like hearing about the bad behavior though. But I do think there's maybe a little less of it than there used to be. I am hopeful at least. Tanisha wanted to say something.
One time, 11-year-old boy said to my coach, "Are you sure I can beat him?" And then I beat him.
Yes. You answered their question. Anya, yes. What did you want to say, Anya?
So like once at like this Boston tournament I went to play, this boy, I played him like this one round, and then the next round he played this other girl. She was like 13, he was like 10, and he started losing at the end. He said, "I feel like you changed my piece," so like took a piece off the board. He started like saying stuff like that.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, accusing somebody of cheating just because they beat you. That's annoying. That actually happened to a very famous streamer, Anna Rudolph. She was playing so well. People were like, "Oh, you have like a chess computer in your lipstick." So that became like a running joke. If anybody watches her stream, like, because she wasn't getting up very often. She was like very like clearly not cheating. So like they were just like looking for things that she might be using, and the only thing she had at the board was her lipstick, or her lip balm. Rather, it was lip balm, not lipstick. Maggie, did you want to bring up? We might have time for like 1 or 2 more points.
Yeah, I can go on to the next point. I mean, a lot of girls are really excited about this experience. You know, I think we all can relate really personally to it.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, but it's also great to see that we've also like learned a lot from these experiences, you know, to grow not only as chess players, but as, you know, people in the world too. But yeah, another question or idea that we can discuss now is, it's a little bit more about how chess can continue to grow in the future. So I'll kind of give some context, again, kind of starting off with a quote. So on page 22, you talk, or like in your chapter, you talk about how chess sort of grew and developed, especially how the queen, you know, the queen used to be, you know, one of the weakest pieces on the board. And now it's, you know, the most powerful chess piece on the board, you know, outside of the king, we can sometimes call. And so the quote that I'm referring to, or the idea is, you know, as much hate as the mad queen got when she gained her new powers, she made a better game. The mad woman's chess became chess as we know it now. You know, which kind of refers to how the queen sort of, you know, its story of becoming, you know, the most powerful chess piece on the board. And so I guess the question or the idea that we can discuss now is, you know, with the increasing, you know, like technology, you know, news articles, you know, the development of the Queen's Gambit, how do you all expect, you know, the game of chess to develop in the future? You know, do you think it'll continue to, you know, mirror what's going on in society? Do you think, you know, more developments to the game or to the culture, like what do you think about, you know, the rise of Blitz or like Chess 960, like all of that is on the table here for this question. So yeah, it's open for discussion.
Yeah, I love that. Ray, did you want to talk about either this point or tie it into the last question as well? Because you had your hand up.
Yeah, so one time I was playing a boy in a tournament, and he was like,
I was like nervous of losing for some reason. And then he's like, "You're so going down." So then like he had like 2 minutes on his clock, and I had like 5. And his friend was done his game, and since I was beating him so much, he was like a 7th grader. His friend came over to look at his game, and then he just stuck his finger. Then the person I was playing stuck his finger up and at him and told him, "Do not talk about this position and never talk about this." And when we won, and when I won, he said, "This never happened."
Yeah, wow. Wow, this never happened. I mean, that I guess that can be a coping mechanism for somebody after they lose a really hard game. But yeah, it's not the most gracious thing to say after losing a game, that's for sure. 24 players now in our mini tournament. Any other comments about making the game better? I mean, we still do have that big gender disparity. It's wonderful to see all of your smiling faces here, but we still only represent 15% of the active chess players in live tournaments. So any comments about what you see for the future of chess? I have a 5-year-old son, and the cool thing that I noticed is a lot of the apps that he's playing on, whether it's like Play Magnus or Chess Kid, they have a lot of female players. And I'm really happy that he always wants to play Judit Polgar and Play Magnus instead of Magnus. He's like, "I want to play Judit," because she played better than him at 5 years old. She was the strongest like 10-year-old in the history of chess. And so in the younger ages, she was like way better than Magnus. And that's kind of reflected in the app. And then also in Chess Kid, there is Yvette Garcia, who came to one of our classes, and she's amazing too. And he wants to play them. I love that. Marissa, yes, Marissa, who I mentioned earlier, she was the one who started the Master Room in Queens at my high school, the high school I went to.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about like your question about what we can do to get more girls in chess. And like you said, self or what is it? Shameless plug. I run a chess club called Master and Queens at my school to teach girls how to play chess. And it's like honestly, at first I thought this was gonna be like a really, really like difficult process to find people that are interested and like things like that. And if you really are able to commit to it, like starting a club at your school or like even just like a little meeting with like teaching your friends how to play chess, something like that, like anything you can do to get like more girls into the game. It may seem small because it's just like 10 or 15 people, but every person counts and every female counts in the chess community. So that is my inspiration to all of you to potentially start a chess club or just teach some friends how to play chess one day. Yeah.
Oh, I love that, Marissa. That's beautiful, beautiful words. And by the way, if you ever need anything, if you're doing that at your school and you need like some chess sets or something, you know, you can email me or I'll forward it to somebody on my team because we have some available funds for that. I think we gave you some stuff, right, Marissa?
Yeah, you guys helped us with our memberships for USCF. So.
Yeah, and I gave you we got them some chess boards, or if we haven't gotten you some women's chess US chess women chess boards, then we can. So
we
yeah,
can email about it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's great. And anybody having trouble, if anyone's having trouble getting into the tournament, you gotta I'll put that link in there one more time. 25 people. So if we get 26, it'll be an even number, which is cool. Maggie, did you want to say anything else to wrap up, or maybe give one more quote? We still have 2.5 minutes left in the meeting before the tournament starts.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know if we'll have time for like another question, but I know a lot of girls are really excited about like sharing their experiences from the first question, like talking about their own chess experiences that really like they changed them, like on how they viewed the chess community. So I don't know if we want to like revisit that again.
Yeah, did
like
anybody
if someone was really excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Did anybody not get to talk at all yet about either what change they'd like to see in the chess world or an experience they had where playing like a girl meant something different than what it means in this club? Anybody who hasn't spoken yet in particular, because I know Sage had her hand up earlier but didn't end up talking. Did you want to contribute, Sage?
So
my voice is kind of sore, so don't mind that. But when I had a chess tournament last Saturday, and a boy was so confident he was gonna beat me, and then when he was like talking to his friend because his friend finished early, and then I beat him, and he was like, "Well, you just got lucky."
Oh, he said you just got lucky. Well, there's not a lot of chess. There's not a lot of luck in chess. I said there's not a lot of chess in luck, which I guess is true as well. They don't share any common letters. Any other final? We probably have one more comment if somebody wants to wrap things up. What about you, Laurel? I don't think you said anything, and you've been such a great help with our teen program. Do you have any comments?
Hey, for me, honestly, like when I'm just playing chess tournaments, it's kind of something that's really helped for me is to think about not who I'm playing, but more so just the board itself and really not focus on my opponent and what they think of me, because that's allowed me to kind of fully engage with the board. And if people are trash talking me beforehand, like I've had it happen like jokingly and stuff, I haven't really had experiences like some other people in the club, fortunately, as in like bad experiences. But like whenever that happens, I really try and focus mostly on the board. That's just my thing to really deal with it.
Love it, and I totally agree. It definitely keeps people behind. Sometimes all the harassment, it's definitely not their fault. Like it's understandable why you would be affected by it, but if you can get it out of your head, especially when you're playing, it will be very freeing and will probably make you play better. So that's really good advice, Laurel. You had a quick presentation you wanted to share with the screen, right, Maggie?
Yeah, I can share the quick presentation. And yeah, Violet's also the director of our girls club. And I think we also have a few other members of our team here. I think Lapika's here, Advita, Nice is here, and Sanjan is also here. And I think there may be more names that I don't see on the list right now, but yeah, so this will just be a quick little presentation about what Queens United is, kind of what we do, just so you can kind of get to know us a little bit better and what we do within the chess community. But yeah, we're Queens United Chess. We're a student-run organization, and we were established in the winter of 2019, so right before the pandemic. And we founded it based on two main missions within the chess community. One was, the lack of girls within the chess community, as you might already know from personal experience, and also the cost barriers associated with chess. And that's why all of our programs, are offered at no cost and are led by our female ambassador team. That's how we aim to address these two main problems within the chess community. And it was founded by myself and another girl named Lizzie, who I'm not sure if she'll be joining with us tonight, but she's already in her second year at Harvard, just for some context. And yeah, I can probably get into it next about our impact and what we've done. And then I can pass it off to Tamiris and Violet to, if they're able to unmute, to talk about, a little bit more specific about our other programs. But yeah, so since 2019, we've grown our team to a total of 20 ambassadors, in Chicago and across the world. And we established a number of chess programs, within the city and across the world, both in person and virtually, and have impacted over 500 youth through our lessons, our girls clubs, and our tournaments. And we're really excited to continue, bringing chess to more youth and girls, especially across the world, just so we can make the game and communities so much more inclusive. And we've collaborated, for example, like with Chess Kit and the Chicago Public School System, as well as the Chicago Chess Foundation, to continue bringing chess to specifically under-resourced schools, which are led by our female ambassador team. But yeah, maybe, I know Violet was having issues like unmuting earlier, but if you want to maybe type in the chat about our girls club, and then Tamiris, if you want to talk a little bit about what your role has looked like within the organization.
Yes, my role is to bring diversity to the community. I host lessons in my city, Almaty, in Kazakhstan. So I host it online, and I represent Queens United in my country. So I host some events at schools with girls. And also, I'm working with Chess Kid. We're planning to host streams on chess.com's Twitch chess.kid, where we'll talk with some females that achieved something in chess and just to have fun. So anyone from this event can watch it in internet. So we're happy to see everyone later.
Yeah, that's also like another exciting project that we're working on. We haven't like officially announced it or anything yet, but that's another project that we're also like planning to, as another initiative to increase, increase chess accessibility and increase, more empowerment activities, especially for younger girls. But yeah, I think if there's, I can't see all of the names on my screen, but maybe if like Lipika or Nice, or if someone else is on the line, if you maybe like want to unmute and maybe talk about like your role in like teaching the lessons, or maybe like what some of the behind the scenes roles might look like.
Sure. I'm the creative director for Queens United. So basically, whenever we have a promotional video or like some type of video that we want to make so that others can learn more about our program, I'm the one who helps with that and helps create the videos. But besides that, all of us also teach the private lessons, which are free of charge for girls, which will be starting, I think, in a couple of weeks or next week. And I think that has like really helped me like learn more about myself in chess as well, because we're able to communicate with the students and not just about chess. Like we talk about our day and how things have been going. And I think it's good for both us and the student.
Yeah, and just like Lipika mentioned, we have our fall session is starting soon. It's the lessons are aimed at the beginner, like an intermediate level. That's also on our website at queensunitedchess.org. And you can also learn more about like our girls club, or if you're a girl between kindergarten and 5th grade, you can register at that link, which our first meeting will be next Wednesday. And also our ambassador team. If you're a high schooler looking to be more involved within the chess community, this is another, we're always looking to welcome more girls to continue joining us in our mission of increasing chess accessibility and providing chess to more youth across the city and across the world. But yeah, that pretty much kind of sums up the presentation. Did anyone else maybe from Queens United want to unmute and maybe add a little quick thing?
Hi, can you guys hear me now? Hurrah! Okay, hi. I'm Violet. I've been coming to these girls clubs for a while, since like I think May of 2020 or whenever they started. And I've been with Queens United for about a year, I think, and I started out just as an ambassador, but right now I am the girls club manager. So like Maggie said, our first meeting is in about a week. It's on Wednesday. And they're mainly directed at like more newer players, but it's mostly just about having fun and making bonds and friendships with other girls that like chess, not so much like a whole bunch of hard chess studying, if that makes sense. And yeah, I do love the London system, and I hope to be playing the tournament tonight. I have not been studying, so I will be playing the London system. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, if I remember correctly, you were very dangerous in that opening. So be wary of Violet for sure. Well, it's great to have you all. And I know like so many of the girls who continue on in chess as teenagers, a lot of them are active members of the community and doing things like that. So it's really beautiful to see. I really love just seeing so many teenagers here. Of course, a 7 p.m. start time is a little bit more convenient. A lot of times we start at 6, but 7 o'clock I know fits a lot of people's schedules better, especially for those in the West Coast. So, keep that feedback coming.